Welcome to another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast. I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, leave your comments for all of your South Florida real estate needs. It would be an honor and a pleasure to assist you. Without further ado, we have the number one Zionist power gay.
Yeah, there might be some others. Douglas Murray is also a Zionist power gay.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm way
Douglas
flamboyant than he is.
Douglas isn't
Yeah,
zesty.
I'm really fun.
I agree.
Yeah,
Douglas is very refined. You
Douglas
wouldn't,
is very serious.
right?
Yeah.
To put it very bluntly,
Mhm.
you don't know unless with him, maybe you were able to are you
Well,
able to tell?
that's just because he's British and people it's harder to tell with British guys.
Oh, but you can see it. You know right away.
Most guys, there's lots of like Israelis, gay guys like Israel.
Yeah,
And gay guys are your best ally, to be honest,
it makes
because we
sense.
have the same, like gay guys who have any brain in their head know that Islam's going to come and kill us too, you know.
Hmm.
It's all these queers that are psycho.
We're gonna get into this. We're getting it. Guys, is gonna be great. I'm very excited to have
Yeah,
this. I'm really excited for this.
yeah.
Okay, guys, tune in for the laughs. There's gonna be intellectualism, deep discussion. We're gonna
Mhm.
throw jokes in there. Thank you for coming,
No problem.
Daniel. It's really, really great having you.
Yeah.
For whoever doesn't know Daniel Ryan Spaulding, he is an American non-Jew, I believe.
I'm not American. I'm Canadian and European.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah,
Okay,
you need to do
I got to
some
do my
research.
research. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I just did. Okay, so he's Canadian. All right, I'm not going to take that part out. You're Canadian,
That's okay.
and you are a very proud advocate for Israel and the Jewish people, and it's
Mhm.
something that so many Jews, whether in Israel or outside of Israel, they've gotten to know you for this.
Mhm.
And obviously, you do it in a very funny way.
Yeah.
You'll go to Israel, you'll flirt with soldiers, and
Yeah.
and they're usually they're fun about it. They're comfortable
Oh
with it.
yeah, Israelis are very pro-gay and comfortable with gay people. And yeah, they're the best.
Uh,
Even the
I
really macho Israelis, they like it.
I think very simply, if a straight guy, is intimidated by gay people,
Uh,
there's probably a chance that he's
oh yeah,
yeah.
totally.
And
Yeah.
anyone I know that's gay says it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Homophobes are the biggest gays.
yeah, 100%. 100%. 100%.
Mhm.
So give us a little bit of a background on you. Not that you don't have to give us your whole childhood, but
Mhm.
anything that really goes off in your head that
Mhm.
was important, say, in the last few years, in
Mhm.
terms of what brought you to become this advocate. Because it's not,
Well, I grew up in Canada, and yeah, I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. I always wanted to be an actor, and I was always very creative. And I guess growing up, even though I'm not Jewish, I had a really great appreciation for Jewish comedy and Jewish writers, and like I was obsessed with Seinfeld and Woody Allen movies and all that great all those great Jewish sitcoms that took place in New York in the 90s. And I always wanted to be a comedian and or an actor. And I went to university and studied acting. And in my early 20s, I did some work in film and television. And then I moved to Europe and pursued a career doing stand-up. And I lived in Amsterdam for 4 years, and I lived in Germany for 5 years, and I traveled all throughout the world. I've performed in over 50 countries.
that's really
And
cool. I remember, yeah, I know you do comedy, right?
yeah, and so I had like a really long career doing stand-up and lots of online content to like sort of build my brand. And then when I was living in Berlin, I ended up becoming friends with Israelis, and that's when I started visiting Israel. And I went I ended up really enjoying it and spending a lot of time there. And basically, after COVID, I was in a really bad place in my life. I had a drinking problem. I was very heavy. I was over 400 pounds. Yeah, 3 years ago. And so I just sort of like got sober enough that I just kind of snapped out of it. And I decided to put a plan together to change my life. And I decided to basically get sober, get weight loss surgery, and then like put together a plan to get my O1 visa to move to New York.
Hmm.
And so I ended up, yeah, I just managed to make it happen. And it was sort of this year-long plan. And I had like a lot of plastic surgery too over the past 3 years. I just had surgery just a couple weeks ago, my fifth one.
Obviously, excess skin was
Yeah,
probably, yeah.
yeah. And so I was like wrapping up a European tour. About my show was about my weight loss, and I was going to New York to run my show off Broadway. And I was in Israel on September 30th,
Hmm.
2023, doing my show in Tel Aviv at like the National Theater, because I had already been visiting there a lot and spending a lot of time there. And then I was like in the UK, like on tour that weekend, and October 7th happened. And yeah, I was completely horrified and in shock, and I was getting all the information from my friends in Israel. And then I saw these lesbians I knew in Brooklyn posting pro-Hamas things.
Fuck.
This was like maybe 5 days after. And I hadn't realized that like this whole big machine of like subversion had been in place
Hmm.
with academia and everything. So I just did like a little video calling them out. That video, it was on like October 11th that I did this one video being calling them out and just being like, if you want a free Palestine from Hamas,
Hmm.
what are you doing? Are you insane? You purple hair girls. And that video went viral. And I ended up my move date to New York was October 16th. So this video kind of went viral, and then I was starting my life, this new life in New York, and I ended up like meeting lots of people, Jewish people and people in that Israel advocacy world as I was doing my show off Broadway, and it all just kind of like that's sort of how it happened because I couldn't believe that like society turned on the Jews so
Hmm.
quickly. And so I tried to like help the best I could.
It's crazy how quickly it happened, right?
Yeah.
October 7th, there was a level of sympathy. And then as soon as people knew that there was going
I
to be
don't
a
even think
retaliation,
that. I think there was already like people were already prepared with all the propaganda and like immediately.
clearly you didn't think you were going to become, you have a big following. I mean, you have about,
I don't really care about that as much.
Mhm.
I couldn't really understand like the more that I learned about how deep the subversion was, the more I was like, oh my God, I actually really need to study this because this is like terrifying.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is what happens sometimes in societies. Sometimes societies just kind of eat themselves.
Do you get death threats? Do you get hate from people? Do you have gay
Yeah.
people? You must have gay people that really hate you for it. You must
Um,
have some.
no,
No,
it's
most of them.
like well, it's sort of these like queer kind of people. It's also a lot of it. See, the thing is, I don't think people like I could like talk about this like for hours and hours, but I think that yeah, I got hit with like every step along the way, there would be times where I would get hit with like a lot of bot attacks and character assassination, but that always happened. That even happened really early
Right.
on. So I've had to try lots of different tactics to like get my voice out there and the information out there. And some things worked better than others.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't think it's that ironic that your last name is Spaulding, considering it's a basketball company,
Uh-huh.
and what you're doing does definitely takes balls.
Yeah, totally.
There's a lot of things going on here that just are very ironic. I think that's
Mhm.
great. What I just want to try to contextualize is you say the majority of the gay community supports Israel, which to me seems obvious. But then there are so many different groups in the
Yeah.
LGBT community, and I know like there's so
Sorry,
much confusion with.
sorry, no,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not what I'm saying. So first of all, like the gay community is no longer the gay community. Like that's the first thing I should try to explain. There's this idea that we're all like one big LGBT XYZ fucking bullshit thing.
I know
We're
that.
not,
Yeah,
okay? Because that queer ideology is really Marxism. And that's why like a lot of people are sort of like not into Pride anymore because it got very
political.
creepy. And also anything with kids where you're like talking about trans kids or introducing gender ideology to kids. First of all, it's also very homophobic because a lot of these kids probably are just gay,
Right.
and you're like convincing them that they're trans or something. Like if I was a little boy growing up, like when I was a little boy, I wanted to be a princess and I wanted to play with dolls. Like I would never end up like if I was a little kid nowadays, they'd probably like transition me, you
Right,
know?
right, right.
So a lot of this stuff, like there's a lot of internal things going on in the gay community, but in general, like a power gay or like just a gay man
That's
who's
something to ask you what a power gay is,
a
because
gay man who's in his 30s and 40s, who's educated
yeah.
and is an adult and is successful and works out and travels and is like worldly,
Hmm.
is has nothing to do with like the LGBTXYZ 123 community is like a zombie land alien planet. Like I don't have anything in common with these weird like purple hair girl like autistic teenagers. Like, why on earth would I be in a community? Like, I don't share a community with, I don't
Right.
know what that is, you know? Gay men, like, kind of operate in their own world. We have our own parties, we have our own bars. There is, I guess, like that queer world a little bit, but even that, like, it's really kind of disgusting. Like especially like some of the parties and like I look at some of the things happening in Europe and I'm like, they look like they're lunatics. Like they also I'm sober. I'm also like you know, I'm a little bit older. So when you get to be like gay men, a lot of gay men just want to kind of live grounded, healthy lives and, you know, have families and have children and they might party still, but like you know, we're not being gay is not like a monolith.
Yeah,
We're not
I'm a
all
little
like
more no, I will
yeah.
say I'm a little more knowledgeable than that. I do happen to know that it's the two gay dudes that I do know. One I rarely speak to. He actually lived in Tel Aviv for a while.
Uh,
I met him on Birthright actually. He was on my
mm,
Birthright trip. And then the other one I know from the building I used to live in, which is next door to the one I live
mm,
in now. They're both conservative guys. They're very much aligned with what you think in terms of they're very against the whole transgender movement and
well, I'm not against people being trans if
right.
they're adults and
Okay.
everything. I just don't think it should be something that's like indoctrinated to children in
All
schools.
right. Okay. In terms of what's happening with the whole conflict, though,
Mm,
just and because really, as much as we've been talking about, different, how you identify or how you see yourself,
mm.
I really wanted to focus on you just as a person
Yeah.
being an advocate. There's so much hate now. I mean, so many people are criticizing Israel for this war, and
Mm,
I've seen your videos. You have awesome videos discussing how there's so many tragic things happening around the world, and yet people are laser focused on us.
uh-huh.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people, aside from just people hate Jews, maybe just a deeper
Oh,
psychological, your thought on why that might be the case?
because I think on some level people are very uncomfortable with Jewish power.
Hmm.
Dara Horn wrote a really good book, People Love Dead Jews. I think it's like really deeply embedded in Western civilization. Well, in all civilization, you know, but you know, there's like the Christian blood libel of Jews drinking the blood of children or, you know, making matzah out of the blood of children. Like there's that really deep sort of Christian blood libel. And then you have the Islamists who, you know, want to destroy the state of Israel. And you have like that Arab anti-Zionism, which is, you know, how dare you stand up for yourself? How dare you have an army? How dare you protect yourself? That 1400 years of Arab, you are subservient to me.
Mm.
And that is now all throughout the Western world. So when Western people see that kind of virulent hate, it's very shocking to them. They don't know how to handle it. And then you have these whacked out leftist activists
Mm-hmm.
and communists and socialists and queers who are sort of like using this for their political gain. You have the funding of Qatar, which is basically really embedded in journalism
Mm-hmm.
and social media. And that's driving everyone crazy and getting everyone in fights with each other. And so it's sort of this 20, 30-year buildup where Israel has been demonized and there's been all this propaganda and subversion and inversion of cause and effect, and the demonization of the state and the delegitimization of the state. So in addition to just people in general having anti-Semitism, you have this big machine that's been created. Plus you have the narcissism of celebrity and Hollywood, and the fact that the Jewish American diaspora has been so disconnected from Israel.
What's up with this? Like Mark
Uh,
Ruffalo, right? I'm sure you know who Mark Ruffalo is. He's so vehemently anti-Israel. It's this. I want to get a little deeper into the psychology.
mm,
You'll see these very secular Jews, some of them who are very
is he
successful.
Jewish?
Mark Ruffalo, I believe, is Jewish.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't think he was.
It
But
doesn't sound like it. The last name doesn't
well,
sound
what happened was that a lot of people, it's very scary to be around anti-Semitism.
like it.
It's like a mind virus, like the crazy shit that people do and that they say. And if you've been told these lies about Israel, and these lies are associated to you, and people are saying, if you're constantly in a position where you have to justify the actions of the Israeli government or the security measures in Judea and Samaria, or why there's a blockade around Gaza, and you don't know this information, and you've never been to Israel, and you've never talked to anyone who could explain it to you,
Hmm.
and you have these crazy paranoid friends who are telling you all this crazy shit, or you become friends with a Palestinian and they lie to you about like what life is like there, and they tell you a bunch of crap that isn't true, or like there's so many lies. It's like this machine of lies that's been created with
Hmm.
Al Jazeera and everything. So people don't want to have to deal with that.
Hmm.
If you're just a Jewish person living your life, and then you're being told constantly that this country is evil and is doing terrible things, it's easy to sort of groom people into, especially if it's someone who's on the left and someone who's an activist and believes on some level that they're doing the right thing by being against Israel. The not in my name kind of
Very problematic
person.
because it.
So
Yeah.
that's sort of how it happens. And
Hmm.
and they've been doing this, it's been filtered through academia for 20, 30 years. But regardless,
So I guess
there
that
are
was right.
definitely lots of anti-Israel Jews. I think that a lot of the
No, you're
American
right. I was mistaken. I thought he was. Okay. Yeah.
a lot of the American Jewish diaspora has been removed from the indigeneity
So true.
of Israel.
So
Like,
true.
people in Israel, they speak Hebrew, they resurrected the language, the land. Like, there's so much history there
Hmm.
that's like really deeply connected to this like 3,000-year-old tradition and archaeology. And especially when you go to Judea and Samaria, like, you really have to go to Judea and Samaria to really feel the power of Israel. And there are people even living in Tel Aviv who won't go there and think it's like we shouldn't be living there, like
They're very off on that.
yeah.
I think it's very true. You're making such great points. You can have a very secular Israeli who's a lot more connected to his identity
Hmm.
than some quote unquote Orthodox Jews in the United States,
Hmm.
because the secular Jew in Israel can't really avoid what's going on around him.
Yeah.
He understands that even if I'm an atheist, I'm still Jewish. People around my land want to kill me for that reason
Yes.
alone.
Yeah. You're right.
But in America, a Jew can kind of hide. You can kind of avoid being public about your identity if you want to.
100%.
If you
Well,
really
and
want to.
also I think that they hate Israel, a lot of them. I think
Mhm.
if Israel was blown up by the IRGC, they would go, "Oh, finally."
Mhm.
That was so inconvenient having to have that conversation at cocktail parties, like these MSNBC, really whitewashed, elite people. They sicken me. They're
Yeah. Yeah.
horrible. They're so mean. They're awful. I remember I was downtown with my friend David Sharabi, who's like an October 7th survivor. And
Oh, right.
I
Right.
was meeting David for coffee, and there was this Jewish guy who was like, I think I don't know, he was like one of these kind of downtown like banker types. He had like gone to Columbia, like one of these Ivy League colleges, like it was around there. And he was like all preppy and fancy. And he was like lecturing David about the war. And he was like, well, you can't really just bomb your way to peace. Like at some point, you're going to have to find a way to share the land. And I'm like, you're telling David, who literally was like hiding in his bathtub while Hamas was like killing all his neighbors. He was like hiding in
You
his
have the
fucking
balls.
like,
You have the
you have the fucking balls to
right.
tell this October 7th survivor to talk to him like, oh, you savage. You don't really understand war. You don't really understand how war should be executed. There. You need to stop killing those poor people. Like, fuck you.
Right.
You are evil.
Right.
Like I couldn't believe it. So like a lot of people just are so disconnected from the reality. If you've never been around the threat of terrorism or radical Islamism, or you've
Mhm.
never had to like fight in a war, or you've never even spoken to a soldier before, like
100%. You
what
spoke.
do you
You've spoken to a few of those.
yeah, I got those were the only people I could handle talking to
Really?
because, well, like, you know, people are just so delulu on another planet, Like, I love my friends who are leftists, but like, it gets to the point they're like, what we really need is a deal. And I'm like, yeah, but they won't agree to a deal. But if everyone just comes to the table, and I'm like, it's a war. Like, these are jihadists. Like, do you think we
Yeah.
didn't try?
And they don't get
Do
it,
you
man.
think we didn't try? Do you think that like
Yeah.
the people of Iran didn't say, please don't kill us, jihadists? Please don't stab my fucking eye out and kidnap me and rape me.
Hmm.
No, they're jihadists. Like,
Yeah.
what's the matter with you?
Right.
Like, people in the West, they project, when you're a good person, you project onto evil humanity.
Right.
And some people are just fucking evil.
What do you think about? Oh, I got a few thoughts.
Okay.
You, a good one to start with is what's with this horseshoe theory
Ah, yeah.
of these hardcore woke liberals, progressives that have such a fetish. It's a fetish
Mm,
for extremist Islam, for example.
yeah.
They really are so turned on by it,
Right.
knowing innately. I think they have to be somewhat understanding of the
Hmm.
fact that they know that Middle Eastern culture in the Arab Muslim world does not tolerate their kind of
Yeah.
behavior, but yet they fetishize it.
Yes.
They're turned on by it.
Yes. So Islamists target the left.
Mhm.
There's this alliance of Islamists and communists. It's sort of like communists, socialists, and queers. They form a political
Right.
alignment. And so the Islamists, like the Muslim, if you look at the Muslim Brotherhood propaganda, it's always about feminizing the jihad. So it's a woman with a scarf and olive trees. Like they'll always have a tree behind them, and it'll be Palestine. That's why they target a lot of like people in the arts. So it'll be the idea of they're just fighting to liberate the land. And Palestine is this like feminine, nostalgic idea of a land that was lost. And it's like poetry and spoken word, dance and like interpretive dance. And it's this feminization of the jihad.
Hmm.
And when you're like those sorts of people who are on the left, they don't have a good sense of morals because they're not really, they're living in this sort of ideological
And
reality.
this idealistic, right? Because they're
Well,
this
I think that the idea of a world without Jews, which is what Free Palestine is,
right.
it's let's eliminate the collective Jew. This idea is something that is very tempting to high level academics, people that, like, if you look at a lot of the anti Zionist Jewish academics like Noam Chomsky, Gabor Mate, Judith Butler, these people are psychopaths. They don't have a good sense of right and wrong. They can justify anything because when you're an academic, you're just sort of like, well, what is rape? I mean, what if we put rape into the context of Islam? It's just sort of a cultural feature. Like they're psychopaths,
Yeah, they're
right?
crazy. Yeah.
So,
Norman Finkelstein's a perfect example.
well, he's like a
Yeah,
lunatic. They're
yeah.
all lunatics. That's why a lot of these people had messed up relationships with their
Can I
fathers.
interject real quick? You
Mhm.
know what I notice about them? Like the Gabor Mates, Norman Finkelstein,
Yeah.
they couldn't protect anything.
Yes.
If somebody,
Yeah.
their
Yes.
personality comes from such a real weakness.
Yes. They're very weak, demoralized people. And they're also,
Can you imagine if that guy had to physically protect his family? Like if
he
someone
wouldn't
broke
be
into his house?
so a lot of the idea of a lot of the people on the left, they love terrorism. Yeah, because they're very weak and they just have really bad morals. If for 30 years you've always questioned your government and questioned your systems of government and questioned power roles, you're going to be so out of touch with structure and institution that when you see violence and terrorism, you're going to get this like thrill of it because these people fundamentally want to destroy the system.
It's
So,
so well
so
put.
like
It's
these
so well put.
socialists and these communists, they want to destroy capitalism. And the queers, they want to destroy the gender
Because any
binary.
establishment is bad.
Exactly. So if you look at Cynthia Nixon and her wife, like they're buddying up with Mahmoud Khalil. Bernie Sanders is buddying up with Mahmoud Khalil. Like these people would never actually, they don't actually like each other, not actually friends, but it's a political agenda to destroy the West.
Here's what I will say though. Bernie Sanders do, does want, in my opinion, does want people like Mahmoud Khalil to like him. Mahmoud Khalil thinks Bernie Sanders is a useful idiot.
Yeah, but
That's
they're
what I
all
believe.
using each other. It's
For
a
sure.
political
For
agenda.
sure.
It's
For
a
sure.
political alliance.
They have one thing in common. Bernie Sanders, I think, unfortunately, there's this, I think there is a European, people have gotten offended when I've said this, but I've said it many times. There are many Ashkenazis who are very right wing. Many of the people in the West Bank come from Ashkenazi background. They came
Yeah.
from the Iron Curtain, communist, the USSR, etc. There's a big mixture of all kinds of Jews from different backgrounds. You have very right wing
Mhm.
Ashkenazis, but what I've noticed, and it's very evident, is the majority of the hardline left wingers in the diaspora are of Ashkenazi background.
Yes.
The majority of the left wing in Israel are of Ashkenazi background. And the reason this is because they've developed this intellectualization of everything.
Yes.
Many of them are very disconnected from spirituality, even
Yes.
if they may be religious. The Mizrahi Jews, even if they're not technically observant day to day, maybe don't, maybe they use a Quran Shabbat. They have a very strong connection to God. They're very spiritual people. And the Ashkenazi, it's a mentality because it's not every. I have an Ashkenazi background, but I have a very Mizrahi way of thinking,
Mhm.
and it's this thinking of let's pragmatize everything about the conflict, but not realizing that the two-state solution is never going to be a solution.
Yeah.
And I want to actually ask you about this and get your
Yes.
opinion on this. My feeling, and it's really not a feeling, it's just so evident to me. There's no doubt it is a religious conflict, and it is based in the fact, And if you haven't heard of Einat Wolf,
Yes, I'm friends with her.
okay, wonderful, because I had her on my show and I loved it.
Hmm.
And she covers this. It is the idea simply that the Muslim world, much of the Muslim world, does not accept a Jewish ruled Israel. They
Yes.
refuse to accept it. And the moment people, these intellectual Jewish people, believe that we can give our land away to a degree where they'll be satisfied enough to stop fighting with us is the most asinine delusional
Yes.
concept. And until the majority of Jews understand this, and I don't know why October 7th hasn't made this clear to enough people. It's made it clear to many Israelis,
Yes.
but there are still so many of them that still think
Yeah.
that giving away land will actually do anything. And the simple truth is that when you offer land for peace, it's between us and Palestinians. Even with Egypt, we'll get that's a separate thing we'll talk about. I still don't think that was a good idea. But with the Palestinians, you're essentially saying, here, take some of your land back. And they're saying, if it was really yours, Jews, you wouldn't be offering it to us. Clearly you don't think it's yours, which means we are going to continue to fight you for it. It's
Yes.
just common sense. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I think that I don't even necessarily think of it as like an Ashkenazi thing. I think that like people get hooked into a way of thinking, especially people that are older. Like I've noticed it with left-leaning Israelis and left-leaning people, especially people that are in their 50s. Like they've been thinking this way since the days of Robin and the 90s and
Mm-hmm.
that whole movement. And so it's very hard for people to change their perception and what they think. And if you're taking in news sources like Haaretz,
Mm-hmm.
or even worse, like MSNBC or these left-leaning news sources that frame everything as like these with a real anti-Israel, anti-government bias, anti-Judean Samaria bias, the amplification of like little conflicts between shepherds and shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to really hate your own people and thinking about your internal conflicts instead of the larger existential conflicts, and you're not like really meeting new people, and you're angry anytime someone tells you something you disagree with and you're not willing to listen to them and you get mad at them. I think that that's a really big problem, is that people are just sort of traumatized and they're in trauma mode. And when you're traumatized, sometimes you get angry at the wrong person. But, Israelis also, like the left-leaning Israelis, they think of themselves they as a majority.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking, oh, these Palestinians are a minority within our, and it's like, no, they don't see themselves as a
Right.
minority.
Right.
You're the minority. You're the stupid Jew. We're going to break you. We're going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to exist. They're not, they're playing you,
Right.
but they don't see it that way. And so I think maybe even some Jews are uncomfortable with the Jewish power.
100%. It's
Yeah.
very foreign to some people. There's
Yeah.
a rabbi there's a Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro who's been on TRT. He's been
Mm.
interviewed. He's this self-proclaimed anti-Zionist rabbi, and he talks about. He goes, Jews, this whole concept of modern Zionism wanting to create these athletic, strong, physically capable Jews, and he made it seem like this evil thing.
Oh
I'm like,
God.
oh, God forbid, we should all have scoliosis.
Oh, I think
Let
Israel
me stop
is.
working out. Oy
Oh,
vey.
I think Israel is such a great model for really, like, unfortunately, you've had this issue with your neighbors that want to kill you. But in terms of like people being rooted to a land that is theirs, in terms of people being unified with a defined culture and religion, and as an ethno state that is still inclusive of minorities, and the fact that everyone goes to the army and everyone is, so just having that moral collective of like us being a part of something bigger, like even though there are internal conflicts and extremism within Israel, I think that I would much prefer that than a country that's just, like the UK, where it's just, what is it?
100%.
No one can communicate because there's so many people from
100%.
different languages and
100%.
different, everything is just falling apart.
100%. Is
And so I used to be very much growing up in Canada. I loved multiculturalism, but the thing is, you have to adapt into something, and that's what's so great about Israel and the idea of like that's why I love the Zionist vision so much. It's the idea of all these Jews from all over the world being able to come and speak their language on the land of their ancestors
brings us
and
back to who we were with the problem. The issue with
Mhm.
Jews for so long is that people kept trying to beat our identity out of us.
Oh
The
yeah.
Romans, the Greek,
Yeah.
Soviet Russia, the Arab world, the Spanish Inquisition. It was constantly people trying to remove our identity from us. Why?
Hmm.
Because, quite frankly, Christianity wanted to replace Judaism. Islam then wanted to replace both of them.
Hmm.
If we eliminate Jewish identity, Jewish religion, then our prophecy can come to. This is like I've said this many times, but and our identity kept getting stripped away from us, beaten down. We had to do it in hiding, yada yada.
Yes.
And now we actually have this again. Jews have
Hmm.
this true identity again,
Oh yeah. It's a
and
miracle.
it's amazing. And
I
I
love
think
it.
the truth is
We're
that
so lucky.
it's awesome. And I think that there's so many. The funny thing that you don't hear enough, but I've saved so many videos on my phone. There are a lot of prominent Arabs across the Arab world, if
Yes.
you're noticing, that are seeing the Jewish strength and are actually speaking in favor of Israel.
Yes. They admire it.
I've watched many videos
Yes.
of them saying, you know what, the Palestinian cause is nonsense.
Yes.
The Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Hmm.
We don't like the Muslim Brotherhood. You have these
Yeah.
guys like Loay al-Sharif, and he's
Yes.
not just him. You have these non-famous, clerics and imams,
Hmm.
etc.
Yeah.
You'll see them on Memory TV, but you'll see them outwardly getting on broadcast in Lebanon saying,
Yes.
enough of this nonsense. The Jews aren't going anywhere. Get used
Yeah.
to it. We have to disarm these groups. And they're doing that not because of Jewish weakness. They're
No.
doing that because they see that Israel is
100%.
actually willing, that the people, when they're called up, they fight.
Yes.
They're willing to come together. The Jewish people, and the people who may have initially hated them look at it and go, you know, we honor that, we respect
Yes.
that because you're being who you're supposed to be.
Yes.
The problem is all of this pressure that the Jewish people are in right now.
Hmm.
This is this is the final stretch. This is the make it or break it moment.
Yes.
And
I
and
think
a
that,
lot of
yeah,
people are folding under the
you're
pressure. But
right.
what it really is this is the world saying, how are you guys going to handle this pressure?
Hmm.
If this war, if you really think that what you're doing is just, then you better go all the way with it. Meaning,
Hmm.
God forbid, I don't mean that they should kill everybody. It's not what I want. But I mean that Israeli government, the Israeli people in general, have to make it very clear that there cannot be a tolerance for an October 7th for this
Yes.
terrorism. Instead of backtracking, negotiating with Hamas,
Oh yeah.
and pulling out of Gaza so Hamas can rearm again,
Hmm.
that'll show all of the Arabs that actually came around to show support for us will be like, you know what? Forget it.
Yes. Well, I think that that was always going to be what would happen. Like on an existential level, in terms of Western civilization,
Mhm.
what they did to you in creating this nightmare was basically if it was to ever if they were to remain in power, um, it would be a win for them.
Right.
It would be a win for every jihadist group in the world to know that they could get away with it.
100%.
And so, the thing is, we've been really lucky the past 75 years. This is an anomaly that we've been able to avoid war for so long. And the Western world has become very weak and like frightened by war and shocked by war. But apparently, it's only when Israel's at war that everyone's upset.
100%.
But
And they like watching it in movies. They love watching films about it.
sometimes wars go on for 2 years. That happens. Yeah, unfortunately, Israel hasn't had a war this long before, but how long did World War One go on for? How long did World War Two go on for?
Right.
And they've created the most horrific, like, situation where they've forced you into a war in this dense urban warfare, and you're also supposed to feed their
Yeah.
people.
And the
Like,
people don't go into the
and
tunnels.
the
The
people
terrorists do.
and the people are like a completely radicalized
Right.
nation of like crazy people who
Right.
have been like taught to hate Jews and be terrorists since they're like little kids trained, and that no one cares about that.
Right. Yeah. Or is it? Well,
Like
they justified it. Makes sense.
so much of it is just so crazy, and the gaslighting of people, the constant gaslighting and the psychological torment, and seeing the Palestinian flags everywhere, and they know what they're doing. I'm tired of having to explain this shit to people. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, look around. Have you seen Berlin? Half of it looks like Baghdad.
Hmm.
This is your future. Like what Israel's had to deal with,
Hmm.
this is your future. Wakey, wakey.
Right.
Like this is the only thing that's gonna like get through to them because they don't care. They just
Yeah.
really love hating Jews. And that's the point of the war. They want to ethnically cleanse Jews from the West.
So what's your response to people who say, obviously Israel's committing a genocide and all that jazz? Like, what's your response to that?
Oh, well, they're really bad at it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad,
They're
right?
really bad at it. That war that was started by the terrorist regime with the starving people in the tunnels.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a genocide that could be ended with a terrorist regime surrendering
Yeah.
and giving up the starving people in the tunnels.
Right.
Like you're idiots.
It's crazy, right?
And it's also like I don't understand why everyone just didn't like educate people about the IRGC. Like that's all. If we people knew that it was a larger situation with the Houthis and Hezbollah, and like this is like you just have to look at the map and
Hmm.
see. But people, something really weird happened with people. Some people just had to block it out of their minds and be like, "Oh, don't want to think about it. That's not happening."
Hmm.
Or they just kind of they were afraid of how it would affect their careers and their livelihood and their personal safety, so they just stayed silent. But a lot of people, like especially like prominent Jewish people in New York, like I think a lot of them didn't want to actively do anything for Israel because they were scared it would people would think they were Republicans.
Yeah.
Because that's another really big thing.
Yeah.
Like the Hollywood and everything. See, a lot of this stuff I didn't know before I moved to America. Like I moved to America October 16th.
Hmm.
So a lot of this stuff, like I'm figuring out as I'm going along, like how weird the culture is and the media and everything. But I didn't know how different the media was,
Hmm.
how like MSNBC is totally different from Fox News. And like you're seeing the same thing, but portrayed completely differently. Like the MSNBC would like portray the jihadi protests as like, it's just teenagers who want peace. And then Fox News shows it and they're like, Antifada revolution, kill the Jews. And I'm like, why are you covering for these psycho kids?
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
then you realize, oh, it's like they're communists.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
aligned. I don't know. It's insane. It's insanity to me. Okay.
But I think that like I think on a larger level, if you look at like what these sort of communism really is about, getting the state to dictate what's right and wrong.
Hmm.
So they hate religion. That's why they hate Israel.
Right.
They hate the fact that like Jews are from Judea. Like if you can get people to think that Jews aren't from Judea and just erase that history,
That's another thing I want to get into.
then you can convince people of anything. You can convince people like you're supposed to tell me that like a man in a beard with green hair who's 500 pounds in a dress is a beautiful woman. And if I say that that's not a beautiful woman, my career is
Right.
over, and
It's
I'll be
nuts.
threatened by every person I've ever met. And you know what I mean? That's communism at this point.
Right.
That's not freedom of speech. That's not freedom of
But I
expression.
think we're moving a little. I think since Trump has been elected, you're noticing
Yeah, but they're also getting crazier and crazier.
I know.
Like I thought there would be like I remember I did an interview with Rita Panahi after where I was talking about why I think Trump won, and people were not willing to hear it.
Well, I think it's you know what though. I think it's the storm. Before anything gets better, it's got to get worse.
Yeah.
It's because
How is it going to get worse? They're doing jihad. It's
uh
like lesbians doing jihad. How is it going to get crazier?
we are literally seeing across the world. You are seeing true freedom, this level of grounded freedom, right?
Mm.
Of having boundaries, right? Because true freedom, you need a level of boundaries, right?
Yes.
The woke left, right? All these progressive purple hair, green hair, they think that real freedom has having no rules, no morals, no standards. Everything is just free for all,
Chaos. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's not freedom
Yeah.
because when you don't have an ideal, when an idea of structure and morals to an
Hmm.
extent, chaos isn't freedom. Chaos is the
Yeah.
opposite of freedom. And I think that's what they don't understand. Their brains don't compute that. But a grounded person who still believes in freedom of speech, press, etc., but
Hmm.
says, no, my kids should not have the decision to have a sex change at 2 years old.
Yeah.
That's not a freedom, actually. I think we're having this literal war now,
Yeah.
and things are going to get worse before they get better. England is a great example. If England doesn't figure out a way to solve the issue they're having with the immigrants, with the people that don't want to integrate, that don't want to assimilate, they're eventually going to have a civil war if they can't
Yeah.
sort it out. If they can't
Yeah.
figure it out,
You're right.
they're gonna run
Yeah.
into a big issue.
That's what they want. I think that that's what these people want. They want civil war. They want chaos.
Right.
But what was I going to say? Oh, the horseshoe theory. So I think that a lot of the anti-Semitism on the right is coming
Hmm.
from funding of Qatar. I think that it's Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and these people really pushing out this message of Israel controlling America, APAC, like just this constant. It's really what Hitler did with the radio signals.
Hmm.
This is what's happening right now. This is what's getting everyone to turn against the Jews, is this constant daily anti-Semitic, anti-Zionist bullshit. And they're being paid to
You know
do
what
it.
I'll tell you, Daniel? And this is a wild out of the box take. I think that sometimes some Jews need to be reminded that their heads are so far up their asses. We need people like Candace Owens, not because she's doing a good thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She's doing what she believes is right. That's just what she's doing.
No, I don't think she's doing what she thinks is right. I think she's making money.
I think she believes though what she's
No,
saying.
I don't
You
think
don't think
so
so?
at all.
No?
I was at a dinner with some of the like her producers. I had like gotten invited out with some conservative gays because so many people I knew like stopped talking to me because they thought I was a Republican or something.
Hmm.
I'm just like against terrorism. But that's apparently means you're a Republican now. But I got connected to this one like Jewish journalist who is like a Republican, and I ended up at a dinner with his like Candace Owens producers,
Hmm.
and they were lunatics. Like just like when they started talking about Israel, they went into this like rage, like this psychotic rage, and they were bragging about how much money she makes and the clicks and the views. And it's really anti-Semitism just sells online. It's that mind virus. People like it. Mhm.
People
But
love
I
it.
think the horseshoe theory is also because American politics is so binary and the two sides hate each other so much that they get a relief out of having a common enemy,
Hmm.
which is Israel or the Jews. Like there was a thing on The Daily Show where Jordan Healer, I think his name was like making fun of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, I don't think we should be sending money to Israel for weapons. And Jordan was like, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't think that we should be getting involved in a war in Iran. Oh my God, I agree. And there was like this perfect demonstration of the horseshoe theory where like
Yeah.
he didn't, I don't think he realized he was doing it, but it was like this perfect thing where it was like, yeah, you guys are both such whacked out lunatic people who hate each other so much.
Right.
The one thing you can agree on is that you get this pleasure, this sick, disgusting pleasure
Hmm.
out of the fact that Israel is at war and these people are starving in tunnels and you don't give a shit about them.
Hmm.
And there's a terrorist organization that wants to commit a Holocaust of like 7 million Jews, and a part of you like kind of loves that. Like
Hmm.
you're both disgusting.
Hmm.
Congratulations.
Hmm.
They're horrible people.
Right.
Like they're just I can't believe like I had no idea that like I guess on some level I knew people were evil, but I couldn't believe that people that are allowed to have television shows uh, can go off and say this crazy shit, you know? It can have all these terrible ideologies. And I don't understand why people hate Jews. Like, I love Jews. I think they're great. Like, you can be a little neurotic or whatever, but Israel's like
A
fantastic. Like,
little bit of PTSD.
this is the thing. People, sometimes things aren't perfect, but they're still beautiful. Sometimes, it's not fair that these people have to be at war, but like the country is also like there's such amazing history and everything, and there's lots of countries that have conflicts or at war, at civil unrest in some
All
way.
over the world right now. So much worse. So
Hmm.
many things that are terrible, brutal things that happen all the time. The
Yeah.
cartels in Latin America just sawing people's arms off,
Yeah.
beheading.
But you can't like pretend that the hostages don't exist. And you can't pretend that October 7th didn't happen.
No one
Like
cares
all
anymore.
of October 7th, that was all resistance. The hostages, well, Netanyahu doesn't care about the hostages, so why should we?
Mhm.
It's a genocide. Like, you're
First of all, here's
crazy.
another thing about the
And
hostages.
Hezbollah bombing the north, that doesn't matter. The Houthis bombing, that doesn't matter.
Because it's all justified.
Like,
It's all
I don't,
justified.
like these people are lunatics.
Anything at this point that happens to Israel is justified. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. They don't care
But I don't understand why the American Jews don't care.
because they're scared.
Well, they need to get some
They
balls.
don't have any.
Well, they're
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I think they've grown some. I've seen it when I've seen pro-Palestinian protests coming to certain neighborhoods. I will say that people have showed up and come out where in the past, prior to October 7th, people would be hiding in their houses. There's a fear. Jews outside of Israel, unfortunately, and again, this goes back to the Ashkenazi thing. They're very scared of confrontation, and it's a big problem. That is the biggest. You want to talk about what really fuels anti-Semitism? It's people saying Jews are not tough. How are they winning? It's all because of America. Without
Oh.
America,
Oh my
it's
God. Well, they don't know all those manly, sexy IDF soldiers. Yeah, I think that
people don't know that there are
people don't
tough.
understand Israel. That's the
No, not at
problem.
all.
They don't
Nothing.
understand like how, like the indigenous, like,
Can we go into this? I
yeah,
really want
sure.
to talk. I want to
Yeah.
lead with this question. You'll have people, Jews can't, we can't win in the sense where we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't.
Yeah, but I
It-
feel the same way with me. Anyone who defends Israel or Jews at this point, like, is in the same situation.
right.
Everyone
So,
will get mad at you for everything you say all the
right,
time.
right.
This is why the best advocates for Israel are like people that are kind of unhinged, like me or
Right.
Azalea Banks or
Yeah.
Caitlyn Jenner, who's just like, I don't give a shit. I've been through everything. Fuck you. You got to be a little
Yeah.
unhinged. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this thing that drives me nuts. I wouldn't say it drives me nuts anymore. I've come to terms with it, but it's frustrating. Jews are European when it's suitable, and we're
Yeah.
Middle Eastern when it's suitable. During the Holocaust, we were not European. We were not the Aryan pure race. We were Semites,
Yes.
right? The term anti-Semite was coined by a German, so philosopher, historian, etc. So when it was convenient for the Europeans, we were the foreign Middle Easterners that settled in Europe. They had to kick us out, slaughter us in the Holocaust. But then when we settled in the Middle East, when we went back to our homeland, we were seen as Europeans that should go back to Europe where we were slaughtered. The Jews, the Mizrahi Jews of the Middle East, were not seen as Arabs when they were in Arab countries. They were seen as what were called Musawi, or people of Moses,
Yeah.
or they were seen as dhimmis, obviously. They paid a non-Muslim tax, but they were always seen as their own separate group of people.
Hmm.
There were times of prosperity, but there were countless, countless times where they were killed and persecuted. But then when they come back to Israel, people are telling them, oh, go back to Yemen, go back to Algeria, go back to Morocco. But if they're Arab, then why were they kicked out of Arab countries? They lived in Arab countries before they were Arab.
Hmm.
And you know this. They before the Arabs came from the Arabian Peninsula and conquered Iraq, there were Jews living in Baghdad long
Yes.
before Islam and Arabs
Yes.
existed there.
Yeah.
And so it's like we try to explain the fact that the Jewish people come from Judea, come from Israel. All people have to do that, people that hate us, all they do is they move the goalpost.
Yes.
Anytime we make a logical argument, they just move it. But you're this, but you're really that. Oh, but you're really this, but you're really that.
Yeah, well, that's anti-Semitism.
Right,
It's not rational. It's like
right.
a disease of the mind and of the spirit.
That's why I
Like
don't. That's why
whatever
I'm tired. The justification
it's
aspect.
whatever a society or a person hates about themselves
Mhm.
or they deem as the most horrible thing ever, they project onto the Jews.
Right.
And Israel is ripe with all sorts of crazy characters. You can go to find some lunatic lady in Jerusalem who's like, one day we will have, we will have all the land. And like some BBC reporter is there, like, oh, tell us more. And you can carve out and create a narrative that as if that represents
You're talking about Daniela
nine
Weiss?
million people that live there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to create these anti-Semitic narratives and tropes, but the truth is way more like nuanced, but also like the danger. It's really about like distracting us from the danger of Islamism and communism and all these, really radical extreme ideologies that are taking hold of healthy societies.
Do you think that England is going to make it? No, it's a think. I mean, obviously, I don't
Mhm.
expect you to know that. You don't have a crystal ball. But from the way it looks, do you think the English are going to make a comeback? Do you think they're going to end up doing something about it?
I don't know if the Jews will be able to, like, I don't know if Jewish life will survive in the UK. But I think that like the football hooligans and stuff like might be able to reclaim the country. But the problem is the media. Like they'll have to turn to some sort of alternate news source to be able to organize and to talk about the problems they're facing because the BBC and like all these like big companies like won't touch it.
Hmm.
So there's got to be some sort of alternative media for people to have these conversations. I don't know if uh like there's enough talk about it, but I don't know. Like I think like demographic wise, it's maybe too late. And then also the government right now is so feckless and like so many of the cities are run by Muslim mayors and
Doesn't
so
it feel like we're living in a volcanic eruption? Like the volcano is
yeah.
about to just
But then I also think there's some people who are just totally asleep and don't even know what's happening. Like
right.
I think it's just because like we're so connected to Israel and we have all this information and this history of like I've studied so much about Judaism and how when a society turns on its Jews, it's an indication of something really bad's about to happen.
Hmm.
So it's like this frustrating thing where it's like, I can just imagine like, well, I have one great grandmother that we all think is Jewish. I'm pretty sure she was Jewish because I feel this thing inside of me.
Hmm.
But it's like I can just imagine like the history of like being in these situations where it's like all of a sudden you wake up one day, everyone wants to kill you, and you're like, fuck, why does everyone want to kill you? And you're like, oh my God, I see this terrible thing that's about to happen. You're all going to be killed. And they're like, no, we aren't. We're going to kill you. And you're like, idiot, I'm trying to help you. Like, I'm trying to help you. You want to kill me, but these people are going to kill me and then you. And you're going to, like, and it's just like, oh, fuck. Like, and it's like every 75 years all over the world, the Jews have to deal with this for 3,000 years. And you're just trying so hard to explain to them, no, don't kill me. I can help you. No, we want to kill you. I'm like, oh, fuck, like, it's
And then
terrible.
both you just realize that everyone wants to kill you.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it's
it's
so amazing.
awful.
It's so true with extremist Islam. They hate Jews more than anyone else, but they also want to get rid of everybody after that doesn't align with them, and it just doesn't compute with other people. It's like no, it's just you they hate. It's like mm,
No.
when they're done with us, they're gonna come for
Well,
you.
yeah, and I learned this when I was a little boy. I remember like there's so many lessons from my life
Yeah.
that like came out over the past 2 years. Like when I was a little boy, when I was like 13, I had a Lebanese teacher and she was Christian. And she told me, like, it was after 9/11, because it was like around that time. She sat us down and she told us, she was like, when I was a little girl in Lebanon, before the Civil War started,
Hmm.
before Hezbollah took power, something happened where just one day, like we were all friends, and there were Christians and there were Jews and there were Muslims. And then just one day, we were all supposed to hate the Jews and not talk to the Jews, and the Jews were our enemy. And eventually, all the Jews had to leave, and then they came for the Christians. And so I had that memory in my head, and this is like what's happening
You
now in
must know
Europe.
about God's Sod.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
You have any connection to him? Do you know him?
No, I haven't met him yet.
Mm.
But yeah, like all of this stuff I've had to learn over 2 years. And then I find out all the fucking Republicans know. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. This makes so much sense. It's
Yeah.
because you've been in echo chambers for so long and you don't listen to each other because you hate each other so much. So you're not exchanging any information. So Ben Shapiro has been telling all the fucking Republicans all this shit all this time, but all the Democrat Jews are watching MSNBC and are off like idiots for years.
It's so well said,
Ugh. Thank
right?
God for Barry. Barry Weiss is great. Barry Weiss is good. She's gonna be I think she's gonna be working at
Barry,
CBS.
Barry Weiss. What do I
The
know?
Free Press.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me go on YouTube. I'm sure I've seen her before.
So you can look it up later.
I'll
We're
look it
doing
up.
a
I'll
podcast.
look it up later. You're right.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Pardon me.
Yeah. So what
So,
do you think is
so
going to happen? Do you think it's going to be a
oh,
complete?
I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
What I predict. First
Do
of
you
all,
think they'll surrender?
no. What I've been saying, I've been doing this podcast for over 4 years now,
Uh-huh.
and I have been saying even before October 7th happened, Israel needs to stop dilly-dallying with this bullshit area A, B, and C,
Hmm.
with the West, calling it the West Bank, all of
No.
this nonsense.
Yeah.
If you want to have a Jewish state, you need to claim sovereignty over all of it.
Yep.
None of this two-state solution nonsense.
Yeah.
The fact Einat Wolf is, I bring her up again because she breaks it down beautifully. Until the Palestinians and anyone who supports the Palestinian idea of a state, until that idea ceases to exist, meaning
Yes.
the people themselves would love to live in peace with them,
Hmm.
but until the idea of a state
Yeah.
is not a thing anymore, they will continue to fight for the total destruction of the state of
Yeah, I
Israel.
agree.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Full stop.
It
And then
has to be like a hard, like Trump has to be like, it's over.
yeah, no,
You
you
lost.
lost.
Move on. You're losers. Anti-Zionism is for losers.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good Brooklyn Trump. I like
But
that.
I think that, yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be a one state solution where there's going to be like an option for people to leave, like a land purchase where they could go have a house in Saudi Arabia or something. And there'll be like territories that are sort of like emirates with like an Arab coalition to
Yeah,
help lead the people and de-radicalize the people. But yeah, like if you yeah, it's
it has to be full sovereignty. Gaza needs to be under Israeli rule permanently forever, not
uh
America. I
so then you
yes,
don't want a coalition?
I think Israel should control it completely. What
Yeah.
I do think is that if it's split up into certain towns and there are some Gazans that do stay, they have to first demilitarized.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
If
Yeah.
they have any sort of police force of any kind, which
Hmm.
I don't think they should, but if they have any kind of thing, it needs to be heavily watched, heavily regulated.
Hmm.
Any attacks on Israelis need to be dealt with very heavily
Yeah.
because of the history.
I
We
think they
can't
should
expect
have the death penalty too, because all of when you have prisoners, you end up having to
100%.
come
The thing,
to
but it
the
gets tricky because if Israel wants to stay as a democratic state, if Jews do it to Arabs,
mm,
you have to consider how you're going to deal with that because
right,
there, obviously Israel's going to prioritize its Jewish citizens. It's going to
right.
favor them, and that can be another issue in of itself. I do think that they should get the death penalty, but then what if a Jew from Judea and Samaria or in Gaza does it to an Arab and that murder wasn't just well the murder that
Well,
killing wasn't justified.
well, yeah. Death penalty is the death
I
penalty.
agree, but
Yeah.
it you're gonna have a lot of Jews that are gonna second that may not vote on it for that reason.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm
that's
just
weird.
I'm just saying how it's gonna be. I'm
I
just
think the
saying
death penalty should be for everyone.
you're speaking logically, and I
Yeah.
agree with that. I
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from, but there's a sense of Jewish togetherness and a love for Jews where they're gonna feel bad for the person. It's just what it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Not everyone. There are going to
Yeah.
be Israelis that say, no, death penalty is the death penalty. But you're going to
Yeah.
have people that don't, full sovereignty, period. End of
Mhm.
story. Palestinians inside of Israel with citizenship outside of Israel proper that live in Gaza and the West Bank have to make a decision. You don't have to like Israel. You don't have to, love Jews. You need to accept reality. It exists. It's going to exist.
Mhm.
It's far more powerful than you are. It gets more powerful as the days go on. You get weaker. The Jews get stronger.
Mhm.
If you want any sort of future here, you need to come to terms with reality.
Yeah.
Face the music. Otherwise, we're going to be in conflict until the end of time.
Yeah.
And this is what needs to happen. So that's why
Well, we also have to work on de-radicalizing the West too. I don't know what they're going to do. Like we
I
have to
actually
de-radicalize the
I think that
Palestinians, but
will
the West has
happen.
to de-radicalize too.
I think that's going to happen once Israel stops bullshitting itself and actually does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
People in the West will get over it.
It'll be like this spell that's broken,
They'll get over
or
it.
they'll just move on with their
They'll move on,
lives.
or they'll
Yeah.
eventually move on. They'll eventually move on.
It's
But
like a fun hobby for them.
for Greta,
They like going to marches. A lot of those people really just like
brunch and march.
they're just they're just people like I hate activism. Like I will never like do any other activism again or speeches or anything. I hate it. I hate you can't really live a life when you're an activist. And people get mad at you and people like it sucks.
Right.
I'd like to write a book and like talk about like this experience of the past 2 years, but I really enjoyed like my life before where I was just doing fun gay guy comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You still could.
Yeah, I know, but it's just that like you know, all these jihadis are scary. They're after me, all the lesbian jihad. They know they don't like me.
I know, but you got all
That's
these.
okay. They weren't my target
You got all these
demographic
IDFs,
anyway.
these sexy IDF soldiers to protect you.
Yeah, I know, but some of them don't speak English.
But that you probably like that though, to an extent.
Yeah,
You can flirt with them and they just smile at you. They're like,
yeah. But yeah, what a crazy world we live in. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'll be safer if maybe I should just like convert and live in the Judean hills and garden. Be like, God gave me this life. Be like a messianic extremist
you
with
build like a
a
gay kibbutz full of religious.
oh, that'd be so hot.
Everyone's got
Yeah.
beards.
Ooh. And we like and all shirtless with the tefillin.
Just big kippahs.
Oh
Grow
yeah.
the gotta grow the curls out.
Yeah, and like the
Blonde.
washboard
See?
abs. Oh, it's so hot. That's another thing too. People will be like, "You fetishize Jewish men. You fetish," and I'm like, well, "What do you want me to do?" Everyone has to find their own unique voice. Sexy gay guy comedy works for me.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. And also, I'm living my life. Like, I loved when I was in Jerusalem doing that talk show and like like in Tel Aviv, and I was dating all these hot guys. Like, I'm just living my life. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, but I think a lot of people also have become very homophobic. They're very like people that are on the left, all these queers, they're all these desexualized, pale, kind of like they're all high on drugs and they don't actually like have healthy dating lives or sex lives. They're just sort of these weird.
Well, I think they're to a large degree, meaning growing up, I grew up religious,
Mhm.
and I definitely didn't grow up around anyone gay.
Yeah, but I'm not
And it
talking
took
about
me.
like
No,
conservative
so what
people. I'm talking about leftists.
what I'm
They're
saying,
homophobic.
yeah. But there's definitely homophobia on the right wings.
Yeah, but less so. Sometimes they're just like, sometimes I get comments from like Jewish ladies who are like, I wish you wouldn't curse. That's like gay rights everywhere in the
So
world is a
funny
good
seeing
thing,
them though.
except in Israel.
It's so funny seeing them being questioned in the street.
Yeah,
They always run away from the interview. They get
yeah.
flustered and they just run off. They cannot handle an ounce of pressure, those
They
people.
can't handle anything. They
Yeah.
can't like handle reality. I don't know how they like function in the
They
world.
don't function. They live in an
They're
echo chamber. They
they
don't
live in
function.
a weird little,
Yeah,
you know,
a bunch of everyone has a safe.
I
It's
couldn't
just a safe
imagine
zone.
them being confronted by Hamas, like and them just
They would
being.
get on their knees and literally try to suck their way out of it. That's what they
Well, no, I think they just like shit their pants and like pray that an IDF soldier came to save them and
do.
then get hacked to death.
For sure.
There was one video I did really early on where I'm like, if Hamas attacked a music like a techno party in Berlin or London or Brooklyn, and then I acted out, they're like the stupid purple hair girls would probably start stabbing themselves. They'd be like, I'm fighting apartheid. Ah. Like all their friends are being killed. And they're like, take one for the team, Sarah.
For sure.
It's to fight the occupation. Like, and people got so upset, and I'm like, do you not understand what jihad is? You don't understand what
No, they
terrorism is?
literally would do that. They
I
would say they would think that they would kill. They'd almost have this enjoyment of dying
Yeah, maybe.
because he has to kill me to get to further his goal. He doesn't understand. He's only so barbaric.
I still don't think that they understand that October 7th was jihad, and that is going to happen to them. I think
They
they literally think,
some people will
I think
never
that
grasp.
they think that it
Mhm.
was a
They
resistance
do think that, yeah.
against, like, that it, whatever it was, Israel has done so much worse to them, and these people just did it out of revenge. Or I literally don't think that they understand that there are sleeper cells,
Hmm.
and one day this is going to be happening in their cities.
Hmm.
They literally can't, like, their brains cannot process it. And we try to explain it to them every day for 2 years, and they're just like, stop the genocide, free Palestine. Like, how are you this dumb that
Hmm.
you don't get it?
Hmm. A lot of the time with humans, unless they've experienced something firsthand, they don't. They just choose to.
It's like a mental block in their mind. But they like the story. They like the
But it also is a
story of,
numbers thing. There's so many more people that believe the other way around. So people
right.
tend, it's very natural. Human nature tends to side with the majority.
Well, and also I didn't realize how weak-minded people were. Like, people ultimately are like little teenagers in high school.
Right.
Like, if you, oh, my friends don't like that person, oh, I don't like them either.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to like stand out. I don't want to be like the person who is told that they're wrong. I don't want to be oh, you like Daniel Ryan Spaulding, you like his videos? Oh my God. Like, I can't believe, like, you're like a 40-year-old grown person. Like,
Hmm.
you care about what your idiot friend like thinks or doesn't think.
Hmm.
Like, it's really weird to me, you know? I would have people are so crazy. I would have people, if I became friends with someone, they would like contact the new person I was friends with, and they'd be like, you shouldn't be friends with him. He's like, really, he's a Zionist, and he's like, he insults Jews who are against Israel. And I'm like, this is what people are like. Like, they're so demented in their head about this issue
Right.
that they try to prevent, like, in their weird, sick way, they're like trying to stop people from learning about jihad.
Right.
Like,
And
hello.
it's so blatantly said. It's the crazy part is whether they're hardline Jewish left-wingers or non-Jewish left-wingers, all of the jihadis are saying it so
They all want to
blatantly.
kill you.
If
They want
they're,
to kill off. Like, what are you not getting?
yeah,
What are you not getting? Like,
yeah.
Hamas doesn't like you.
Mm,
These stupid, like 70-year-old, like progressive lesbians in Brooklyn who have synagogues, who these psycho rabbis who are like, oh, what Israel has done to Gaza? How will we, like, what will we do to support the Palestinians? And I'm like, they don't like you, Rabbi Cheryl. They don't, Hamas doesn't like you. The Palestinians don't like you.
yes.
If Rabbi Cheryl showed up with her guitar to sing Hebrew songs, they'd chop your fucking head off.
Please turn to
What are you
page
not
70 on
getting?
your Schottenstein Siddur. We are going to sing the Ashrei, and then we're going to sing a jingle for Palestine.
Like,
Everyone, please rise.
you're living on another fucking planet.
Yeah,
They're
it's
living
nuts.
on another planet. They're living in a delusion.
It's a suicidal empathy thing
Yeah,
because it's another thing, and I quote a not again, a not's amazing.
yeah,
A luxury belief.
yes,
And it is the truest thing until you are in a position where your insane belief affects you in a
yeah,
negative way or even more so puts your life in danger. It is much easier to just play the rule of the so-called good guy
yeah,
and say, well, the narrative, the majority, the group think seems to be
yeah,
that Israel and Jews are evil, so I obviously have to agree with them, so they'll love me and I'll be safe and they'll leave me alone.
yeah. J Street is like that too. Did you
Hmm?
see the debate she did with J Street? It was like a leader of J Street and Enoch, and the J Street leader was like, I know what it's like. We as Jews know what it's like to be displaced through war. And we must at some point make sure that there's a Palestinian state so that and it's like, listen, you're projecting your story onto them.
Yes.
Your story is not their story. They don't want to build a nation.
They want to
And if
destroy
they
yours.
did build a nation, it would be to destroy your nation. It's not going to be a state that's like a friendly neighbor. It's going to be a little enclave of jihadis heavily militarized by the IRGC. It's going to be an IRGC proxy with like exactly what Gaza was, but in Judea and Samaria, with at the top of mountains that will be able to shoot rockets all throughout Israel and fucking blow you up. Like that is what you're going to be getting. Like, get over it. Update your software. Get those synapses firing. Learn some new information. It's over.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, did you have any finishing thoughts? I think we're going to wrap it up here.
Oh, what a good talk we had.
Right?
Yeah, it was fun.
I enjoyed it so much.
Hopefully, we can find a nice Jewish boyfriend for me.
We'll have to get you some.
I don't know where to live. Maybe someone
Tel
has
Aviv is going to be your
if you
best
have
bet.
a house for me in South Florida, anybody, let me go.
There's some Tel Aviv. I mean, if you're looking for Jewish dudes, yeah, Tel Aviv is going to be your best bet, I imagine.
No, but I had a dream to live in the United States too. Like I was so hard to have
but you
one.
want a Jewish guy specifically, I guess.
Well, I think that at this point, no one else will want to be with me.
It's probably not true.
Lots of people are anti-Semitic.
Right.
Maybe a sexy Persian. They're very pro-Israel.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Or a Jewish Persian.
LA. LA's your
Yeah,
LA,
Beverly Hills, I think.
you gotta hit up
Maybe.
LA, yeah.
Or like a cowboy, like a Christian cowboy
That's wild.
who loves the Lord. I love those Christians.
Yeah.
The Christians saved Israel, really, I think.
It's very interesting though, because there's a lot that gets complicated, but we can save that for another episode.
Because they can be all like
Well, because I think they're
because
definitely
they're like weird about the prophecy or something.
for some the evangelicals, they want
Yeah,
us to
yeah.
go back.
They
There's
want
stuff
to be wrapped. They want you to be raptured.
yeah. So it's
Yeah, but it's about the intention is good though. I just think that
I mean, as long as I guess it helps our cause. It
but the
helps that cause.
rapture isn't going to happen. That's not going to. But that's based on your prophecy. That's based on your religion. So you can't really.
Judaism doesn't believe that explain the rapture to me. Sorry, because we're not going to believe. We don't believe that Christians are going to, meaning that we're going to die because they're Christians.
But don't they think that there's going to be a rapture? What is the prophecy in
I'm
Judaism?
just not familiar with what the rapture is.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll look it up later.
Okay, well that's fine. Because that'll be a whole separate,
Yeah, but it's okay. Like I believe in God, like, but I don't believe in like I think that like I don't think there's going to be some sort of Armageddon shit or anything, but we're going to have a beautiful holy Jewish nation for now and forever.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds.
God bless these United States of America and their weaponry. I love those bunker busters.
You heard it there first.
Keeping my sexy Tel Aviv gays safe and sound.
What about the straight ones too, man?
Yeah,
whatever.
I guess women and children too, but mainly my gay guy friends. We're gonna have a gay guy Middle East. I think Jews are gonna be safer in the Middle East than in Europe pretty soon. Like I think they'll be safer. Like when there's an expansion of the Abraham Accords, like it'll be safer for Jews to be openly in like Dubai or like Morocco than it will be for them to be in France or England.
I would say to a certain degree, it already is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast with the power gay himself.
Yeah.
Daniel Ryan Spaulding. Thank you again for joining me.
No problem.
This was awesome. You really know what you're talking about.
Oh, thanks.
I appreciate it.
It's okay.
I hope, yeah, this was intellectual. There was a little bit of zest in it, which obviously we were hoping for. Ladies and gents, make sure to subscribe, like, and share to Soothing Semantics on YouTube. Rafi the Realtor on Instagram. Follow Daniel Ryan Spaulding on Instagram. You're on everything else as well.
Mainly Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
You use Twitter at all, or
No, I
is
don't.
there?
Too toxic.
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys again for making it this far, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.